Yo, what up, people? What's going on? It's me, your boy Griff, and I'd like to welcome y'all to Let Me Shoot My Shot podcast. So, I just want to take a moment to kind of talk about my podcast a little bit, just to kind of give the viewers a little something what you can expect to hear on the podcast. Just some of the ideas and thought, the thought process about being on the podcast. This podcast is called Let Me Shoot My Shot for those who need a little bit of encouragement on shooting a shot, on being inspired onto doing different things, whether it's a career change or wanting to start a business, or even like me, shooting my shot right now by doing a podcast. Everything that we do in life is not perfect. It comes with a lot of mistakes. It comes with a lot of flaws. But the key is to take that leap. Go ahead and take that leap. Jump out there and shoot your shot. It's not hard, but it's not easy. But it takes that motivation and dedication to go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And, that's what it was for me. Because for the longest, I had equipment sitting, kind of in my studio. Well, not really my studio, but in my dining room, which is where I'm at now. So this is like my studio until my basement gets finished. Because that's where my studio is going to be. But I bought equipment and I sat it there. And it sat for over a year. And I was going to do a podcast with my son and my nephew. And it just stalled. I mean, we sat down and we would record and we would do a whole bunch of stuff. But I think I wouldn't say I wasn't ready. I just say that I was scared. Not that I wasn't ready. I was just scared. I ain't know, perception. When we start to do something, the perception of what other people think of how it looks, whether if it's not flawless or even if it's not set up the right way, even if we make mistakes, like I'm doing this podcast right now, I upload it. It's not going to be flawless. It's going to have some mistakes. But I'm going to learn and grow from those mistakes because I shot my shot at what I wanted to do. And that's what I decided to do. So, this is the first of many podcasts that I'll do. I'm going to have guests on the show, where we will talk about, what they did, what shot they took, what was the outcome for that, what motivated them, what inspired them, ups, downs, highs, lows, adjustments that were made, things of that nature. So this is a safe space. We're going to come here in this space and, we're going to laugh, we're going to learn, we're going to collab, we're going to get good advice and hopefully encourage somebody else to go ahead and shoot their shot. I know a lot of people, high school athletes, designers, other photographers, models, entrepreneurs, streamers, find out where you want to take your shot. And if you don't know where to take your shot or even how to start, this might be a place for you to come and say, hey, where can I get the knowledge to start? I got my dog in the back. I don't know if y'all heard that, but, this is a regular home. um, but this is going to be a spot where you can come and decide to say, hey, this is where I'm going to shoot my shot at. This is where I'm going to take my leap of faith. This is where I'm going to do this. This is where I'm going to do that. And plan it accordingly, as a photographer. And I try to tell other photographers when they see me shoot or when they see my equipment, use what you have to start. You don't have to have the latest and greatest equipment to be successful. But take that same equipment that you have and make it work for you to generate money, to generate income, so that way you can get to the next level. Just because you see people with all this fancy equipment don't mean that they know how to use it. There's a lot of time that you see people with equipment, they don't even know what they're doing, they don't even know how to use it. So with that being said, use what you got for the meantime until you can get to where you need to be. I thought that maybe I needed fancy this and fancy mics. I'm working with, the basics of starting a podcast. And I watch many a podcast and I see folks with this not a Rode mic. Now I got a good camera because I'm a photographer. So that's different. I did have another audio display, another soundboard. I did get a different soundboard. But I go off of inspiration of what I see. And this is something that is, I saw something. I went to somebody's home and saw something, and it kind of jump started what I wanted to do. Now, I changed some stuff up, and when I did that, changing the stuff up, I was like, do I really, when can I start this? So once again, once I got everything, I went back and I was like, practicing and, doing different things. But in the midst, I still had to learn a new piece of equipment. And learning that new piece of equipment required me to read the manual, research, watch some YouTube videos, make some adjustments until I got the adjustments and the output that I wanted. Then I was like, oh, well, you know what? I got to do something else. I watched some videos on starting my, how to start a podcast. And the only common denominator was everybody that was saying that went off on tangibles, on things that I would still need to get. You got to have this, and do this and background and get plants and, look, like I said, I'm in my dining room and I'm going to be an open book, because there's one thing that I noticed, that with influencers and people on YouTube, they show you the end product. And I don't know if anybody ever notices that. They show you the end product. They don't show you how they got there. They don't mention what they used. They don't mention this is all they had. I take influencers for, and look at, especially around the pandemic, influencers were really big. But everybody that I noticed that were influencers showed the end product, the end game. So now you see them living in lavish hotels. I mean, not hotels, lavish apartments. And they wearing all this designer clothes, all this kind of stuff. And guess what? They don't show the countless times that they either didn't have the meal, or The means, I'm just not sure. But they only showed the end product. I'm gonna do my best as I go through this podcast journey to be an open book, so that way y'all can kind of see what it takes. Because like I said, watch these videos, have a quiet room. Hell, I don't have a quiet room right now. So I do have a space, but my basement's not finished. So I just got to make sure that I do certain things. It may not always be quiet. Sometimes it might be. But I'm going to do what I necessarily have to do in order to make it work. Transparency. So you guys will see as I do my journey on this podcast, it's not going to be flawless. I can guarantee that. I want it to be flawless, but I know mistakes happen. And there'll probably be people that'll judge me because I didn't do A or I didn't do B or whatever the case may be. But all I say is be open, be receptive. Because if you got something that you want to share, you know what? Hit me on the email. Contact me via Instagram, any one of my social medias. Basically, I got my social media. I don't even know about her. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to look it up right now while I'm doing this recording, so I can kind of tell you what it is. It's on my other phone. So that way you can shoot me a DM. I don't have no followers on it. I probably got one follower, for my photography account. But my podcast is called my Instagram, Let Me Shoot My Shot. Let Me Shoot My _shot. That's my Instagram. So if you got a suggestion, an idea, hit me on the DM on there. This is going on my YouTube channel. Let Me Shoot My Shot. You can email me at letmeshootmyshot1@gmail.com. But but like I said, I'm known as being a photographer, and I opened up this podcast to help inspire people who want to take the next step in doing something different. You don't necessarily have to forget your passion, but you can always do something different in order to make things work. And, that's kind of like my goal. I want to make things work for me. I don't want to make them work for nobody else. I want to help them. I want to help you make it work for you by bringing different people onto the show, by bringing, whether it be sitting here live with me in my studio in the dining room, or whether somebody calls on the phone, whether it be a voice call or hear video, or maybe even them joining a video call on the podcast. I just want to be able to share as much information. I don't gatekeep. And it's crazy. It's like, there's so much information out there to be had. And sometimes everybody can afford to pay whatever it is once you do the free webinar, to bring you in, and then all of a sudden, take the class and it's, $79 or $199. Everybody don't have that money. And unfortunately, sometimes it's information people already know. They just don't know that they know it. That's the crazy thing. So all I say is this is not going to be a real long podcast today. This is just something to give you a base of what I'm doing and what the podcast is going to be about. And I just really, really hope that, everybody that either listens or watches to the podcast gains something from it. You know, if I teach you one thing, then I've succeeded. You know, and that's just my goal. Each one teach one. And we can make it work. We can always make it work. So that's just about it. That all I got this evening for this podcast. There's more to come. Like I said, I'm gonna have a variety of people on the show. You know, it's not gonna matter your career. It's not gonna matter what you do. It's just all about shooting your shot. Because there are people out there that shot they shot and transform their lives. And hopefully I can get some of them to come on the show and not, you know, just tell you their experiences on what they did in order to shoot their shot. You know, I want to inspire you, the people, you, the viewers, you, my listeners, to shoot your shot and be all that you can be. So until the next podcast, you know what I'm saying? I'll see y'all then. And hopefully I'll encourage you to shoot your shot. Peace.